you like delivering that happiness to people, and I'm sure they love seeing Bill from Southbrook being at
I
their
love
door.
it. It's and people go, "Oh, you really are wearing purple gloves?" And yeah, we call it purple glove delivery. And I got a box of purple gloves in the car.
Quarantine catch-ups on Corkscrewed TV's YouTube channel.
All right, Bill from Southbrook, how are you doing?
Patrick, it's great to see you. I've been missing you. It seems like only yesterday that you were here and just raising hell. So I'm going to raise a glass to that.
Cheers, and it's great to see you too. We just watched the episode at Southbrook, and funnily enough, our Good Earth episode is the first in the series, but we shot last, and our Southbrook episode is the fifth episode, and we actually shot the very first. So that first scene where we're shaking hands right in front of your beautiful Southbrook building is we were as new to Corkscrewed as you were. That was our very first scene.
You never told me that.
We didn't want to make you nervous, and we didn't want to make ourselves nervous.
This series has been a lot of fun to watch, and it's I think bringing a lot of new people into who are not. One of the problems with wine is it is off-putting, and we're thinking about doing a series of small videos. I'm trying to talk my son Andrew, who you interviewed in the series, into doing stuff like, how do you hold a glass of wine? What are you looking for? Why do we use corks? Why do we use screw caps? I think it's a really valuable. Somebody told me once that almost half of the people in the world who buy wine hate corks. So why the heck do we continue to use the darn things? So
there's so much in our journey. We've found that the more we find out, the more we see that there's more to find out. There's just so much information.
So people always say to me, you must be a wine connoisseur. And I say, I never am a connoisseur, because the word connoisseur comes from Latin to know. And the more you find out about wine, the more you realize you don't know anything about wine. So I always say I'm an amateur, because an amateur has nothing to do with not being paid. Amateur from Latin means to love. And while I'm not a connoisseur because I don't know everything, I am an amateur because I love it.
Bill, if you're an amateur, then I would hate to think what we are.
No. If you love wine, then you're an amateur. That's what I mean.
We're on the same level.
Absolutely.
The exploration, the journey, the adventure level.
That's what's fun about it.
Personally, I love the science, and we got so much of that with your episode because of all the organic elements.
Yep.
And
well, it's an art and a science blended. So
the biodiversity with Anne Sperling, and that was just an amazing additive to what was going to be a great series, because it set us up for this launch of, it's not just putting it in the barrel, it's not just farming, there's so many elements to it.
Absolutely. We got to get you to come back and keep doing more. Back when we can actually hug and shake hands.
Yes, shake hands again. What are you sipping on there, Bill?
What else? Chardonnay. It's our biggest selling Chardonnay. Absolutely delicious, and it's the sort of thing. We've got lovely single vineyard wines today, and I went, I don't know where my corkscrew is. I just want to open a screw cap and enjoy.
Too much work. Absolutely. I still have that beautiful buttery flavor of our Chardonnay that we tasted with Andrew in your gorgeous tasting room.
Well, that's where I'm sitting today. I was hoping to have the curtains up behind me to show you. It's so beautiful in Niagara right now. Everything is green and everything is pruned. We were very lucky. Our offshore workers, our Mexicans who come back every year anyway, we brought them in February because we'd rather than bringing them in and bang your heart at work, we'd rather bring them in, give them a week to get acclimatized, and they're more part of the family. So we were lucky we didn't have the issue with shortage of labor. 2 guys weren't able to come in at the beginning, and now I don't think they're going to be able to come in, which is huge, because everybody's talking about, it's tough to find labor in Ontario, and it is skilled labor as far as the agriculture is concerned. But these guys, this is their life. And so if they're not here now, that's a year's worth of money that they're not going to get. And so we're trying to figure out what we can do to help the two guys that didn't manage to come in.
Oh, it's very noble of you, and we've learned through our journey how much of a team sport this is, and how many, some of the grapes need to be handpicked, and there's not machines
Well,
that can do it as delicately.
right, but it's not just the picking; it's the pruning, and with organics, it's not just go through with a machine and whack-a-mole with a blade. It has to be hand pruned. They have to be hand tied. They have to be hand trimmed during the summer. There's just so much stuff that we have to do with hand labor, and we don't want to bring new people in because then we've got to train them what it's all about. These guys look at something and they know how to do it because they've done it for 5 or 10 years, and it's a great team.
And like you said, it is an art. It's not something that you read in a book. And even our cubby scientists, it's hands-on. They're getting dirty. They're getting muddy.
I couldn't go out and do the work that they're doing today, not only because my back wouldn't let me, but also they're so much faster, so skilled in what they're doing. It's hugely.
Oh. And your skills lend to other things like
Yeah.
your architectural eye, as we can see the beautiful bottles lined up behind you.
Hey, and I've put about 2,500, 3,000 kilometers on a rented minivan in the last 2 weeks or so. Driving, I've been down to London, I've been up to Port Hope, and almost to Barrie, and I spent 3 days in the last week just delivering in Toronto. So
that's our last phone conversation. You were in Northern Ontario delivering bottles.
Yeah,
I guess that's one of the impacts of the isolation, is that you are doing these deliveries now.
Yeah, and it's and we've always used a lot of Canada Post, but now people would rather have product delivered directly to them, and I love it because I talk to everybody at least on the phone, and frequently I'll arrive and drop the wine, ring the doorbell. They'll come out and we'll socially distance, but they'll pick the wine up, and we say how much we're looking forward to seeing them down at the winery as soon as we're allowed to. So it's that personal contact that's really what I've always loved whether it was winemaking or back in the old vegetable days where we're handing people half a dozen corn, and it's that pleasure that human contact that we're missing at this point.
You like delivering that happiness to people, and I'm sure they love seeing Bill from Southbrook being.
I love it. It's and people go, "Oh, you really are wearing purple gloves?" And yeah, we call it purple glove delivery. And I got a box of purple gloves in the car. And the only drag about purple gloves is it's hard as hell to text the next person or to phone the next person before I start out, because you've got to take the glove off to proper contact.
So, and you have the delivery, you said you had the Canada Post, you're also doing tons of deliveries, but for the people that want to get out to Southbrook and enjoy the beautiful architecture and the vineyards out in Niagara and the lake, they could stop by anytime. What's the schedule like for Southbrook?
So what we're also doing curbside pickup. So you can either order online and write in curbside, or you can just phone us when you get here. We'll pack the order, bring it out, put it directly into your trunk, or drop it at a neutral place. Not a huge number of people coming out and really walking around the vineyard, because we've got to be careful with our guys that are in the vineyard have to be kept safe and isolated. As I say, we were lucky our guys came in before, but when they arrived, by the time they got here, we realized what was happening. So we've said to people, said to our guys, you stay on the farm, stay together, don't have any contact with anybody else. You write us up the grocery order that you need, and we'll bring it into you. And it just keeps people a lot safer. So, this reminds me, and I can't remember who wrote it, but there was a science fiction story. It could have been Ray Bradbury or Heinlein, who was dealing with an epidemic. And it just reminds me of that so much. It's all weird. I kind of my life is divided into two halves. Before I started to say, I can't believe, and in the last month, I can't believe the number of times I'm saying, I can't believe. It's wild. It's wild.
It's
So,
definitely it's changed everything, and it's interesting to see how our winery partners from Corkscrewed have pivoted to adjust. And the delivery is very interesting. The bill delivery is even a more interesting aspect,
well,
but people can still stop by.
to me, what's fascinating is I rewatched the program today, and things that were normal, big hug, big handshake,
The handshake at the
standing
beginning.
close together, Andrew pouring wine for both of you guys, and already within a month that no longer seems normal.
Yeah.
And so it's phenomenal how fast it's changed, and it'll be interesting to see how it remains in the long term, because we're into this, I think, until the fall. I Andrew's supposed to get married on the 11th, or get married here at the winery in September, and I'm not sure that's going to go ahead.
Well,
You
I
know,
think he's got a couple ins if he needs to change the date at least.
well, the nice thing is, to be honest, it was the only wedding we were doing this year. So, but I feel sorry for all of the people that have, the wonderful June and July brides, and they're really having to run around. It's changes that we don't even put two and two together, and then we go, oh darn, yeah, you can't do that anymore.
Hmm.
So,
Well, other than Andrew's wedding, what else can we look forward to in the fall, or as this subsides a little bit, moving out of the
well,
summer?
the thing is that as much as we think what we're doing and changes are important, nature is going on. So, I'm lucky enough. I'm in Niagara, which is a beautiful area. I've been taking pictures of beautiful daffodils, and the emails that we send out are about positive things that are happening, and I can guarantee that sometime in the next 5 weeks or so, the grapes are going to flower. In the next 3 weeks or so, the grapes will likely start to bud out. We'll probably harvest in October, maybe September and November, but it's all going to happen, whether we're here, whether we get all these people out. So we're going to stay. We'll see basically what we're told we have to do. At what point can we start receiving visitors? Do we have to do that outside, for instance, that we can pour wine for people outside? That's a possibility. Best thing to do is keep an eye on, or bang my drum, the Southbrook website, but Wine Country Ontario will also be doing a lot of talking about it for the whole Ontario industry, because we're all in the same boat.
And the Southbrook website for our viewers watching is
Southbrook.com. We were early.
Southbrook.com.
And to be honest, Southbrook.ca gets to the same place. But that one of my projects for this summer was to migrate our contact piece from Southbrook.com to Southbrook.ca. I think people are starting to recognize the importance of local. We're hoping that the government will start to say and to mandate. We've got a lot of money invested in agriculture and businesses in Ontario. We should start promoting Ontario. I mean, the LCBO at this point, we have nowhere to go but up as far as the amount of Ontario wine they sell. So we're this lucky.
It's such a pleasure talking to people like you, Bill, because you're such a key advocate for the region and biodiversity and organics in Niagara, and it's always so refreshing hearing from you.
I was invited to speak at a conference out in Eastern Canada, and because they said, the theme of the conference is "A rising tide lifts all boats." They said you're a good example of doing that promotion. So we're in this together. We're in this together.
If the boats have some wine on them too, then everybody wins. That's
even better. I saw a wonderful roadside sign back when people did roadside signs. So last year, and it was it said, "Shop local. Amazon's not going to support your kids' ball team." So, and the other people I feel sorry for, of course, are all the restaurateurs. That's a tough thing to be in. Some of them are able to convert to takeout, but in most cases, it wouldn't be 10% of what their business would normally have been. So
And I believe now they're able to integrate wine into their takeout orders and
They
deliver.
are, but I don't think it's anything huge. We've had a few restaurants approach us to purchase some more wine. I think right now it's more about cleaning up what they've got in their inventory, and why carry it in a tough time. So, but it's a positive step, but that one I don't think is going to continue after the crisis.
And so, yeah, as far as what we can do is check out southbrook.com or .ca if you're feeling lazy and just want the 3 letters. And you'll be prompted for delivery. You could have Bill's beautiful face delivered to you with a smile and some purple gloves, or you could stop by and check out the beautiful architecture of the very unique Southbrook building in Niagara-on-the-Lake. And
well, as we're getting Niagara at this point, another week or so, and I wish I could have had the windows open behind me, but the lighting went a little weird. It's going to be a sea of dandelions, and I love daffodils, but I love a field of dandelions as well.
Really?
And you should also check out, I don't know if you've been following, but Juliet and her husband Martin, who run the sheep and the chickens and the pigs at Southbrook, Link Farm at Southbrook, or just Link Farm. Every morning she posts something on Instagram that just makes your heart sing. So people should have a look at it, and she's doing a lot of deliveries as well because she can't do the whole farmers market thing. So
cool. We'll have to check out Link Farm as well. And it's attached to Southbrook.
LINC, not LINK. So they're on Lincoln Avenue. So it's Link Farms. And like I say, every morning at about 7:30 in the morning, she posts something and you go, life is normal. Life is good.
Yeah, amazing. And speaking, Bill, what message would you send to all the viewers personally about getting through this time and how things are changing?
Thank you for your support. I mean, we've had huge support from the local and especially the Ontario, the GTA area. Thank you very much for your support. It'll all end at some point. We'll look back at this, not with fondness, but the fact that we've survived. We've been tough. It's going to be tough on a lot of people, but I think people are mostly staying at home. And one great thing about delivering is driving in Toronto is a dream. Right now, there's no traffic. I've discovered something interesting, that the lights on Adelaide, for those of you that know Adelaide, it's a one-way street in Toronto, and the lights are synchronized to 51 kilometers an hour. So when you make the first light, I came across Adelaide at 51 kilometers an hour, did not hit a single light. It was green lights the whole way. I've never seen that before, because you can never get up to 51 kilometers an hour on Adelaide during rain times.
Bill, if anyone could find the silver lining to all this, I think you've proven that it can be you. 51 on Adelaide. Check out southbrook.ca or .com. Link Farms has some amazing social media stuff that'll make you smile and maybe make your mouth water.
Absolutely. They have great orders, great specials on right now. I'm not sure what they're running short of, but they've always got eggs. They've usually got lamb, and they've usually got pork. So,
that's all we need.
Absolutely. I'm looking.
Wine.
First thing we're going to do when all this ends is I'm going to get a beautiful pork shoulder from Juliet, and I'm going to put it in. I'm going to set the outdoor pizza oven at about 350 degrees and come in the next morning and just have this amazing roast pork shoulder.
All right, we'll have to have a meeting that morning then.
Absolutely. Everybody's invited.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Bill. And like I said, everybody check out southbrook.ca, Instagram, different social media, and we'll make sure we keep supporting local.
And keep up the good work. It's your introduction of enjoyment of wine. It's infectious. So it's all good.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Bill.
Thank you.